Okay, today we're going to take a look at 7b and 7c. So 7b is finding side lengths with trigonometry, and 7c is finding angles. So if you recall our trig function, sine, cosine, and tangent, a way to remember it is SOHCAHTOA. There. So sine is the opposite over the hypotenuse, cosine is the adjacent over the hypotenuse, and tangent is the opposite over the adjacent. Another way you can see it written is just SOHCAHTOA, knowing that that's the top and that's the bottom of each of those. Okay, so let's take a look at a couple examples here. So here's our diagram. Find correct to the three significant figures, the unknown length. So if you look at the angle given here, this would be considered the adjacent side and this would be considered the hypotenuse. So because we have the adjacent and the hypotenuse, that tells me that we need to use cosine. So we have the cosine and the angle is always what goes with it. So cosine of 32 is equal to the adjacent, which is x over 7, and put 1 over top of that, and then you can just cross multiply. Remember that you always want to put the number in the front of the trig function so that if I put the 7 in the back, this is what happens. I'm just going to show you. And sometimes it looks like 327. So I just caution you on that. And I always put the number out front so that you don't have that mistake. Okay, so we have 7 times cosine of 32 is equal to x. So we can plug that into our calculator. Make sure that you are in degrees and not radians. And correct to 3 sig fig, we get 5.94 centimeters. And there is your answer. So that's an example of cosine. Let's take a look at this one. Um, so looking at our angle 64, this is my adjacent and this is my opposite. So adjacent and opposite is going to be tangent. So we have the tangent of 64 is equal to your opposite of 5 over your adjacent of x. And then we're going to cross multiply. I have x times the tangent of 64 is equal to 5 times 1, which is 5. And then to get rid of to get x by itself, excuse me, we have to divide by the tangent of 64 so that cancels. And if I do it to one side, I have to do it to the other side. And so we type that into our calculator and we get rounded to 3 sig fig is 2.44 meters, not centimeters, meters. And that is your example of tangent. And now let's take a look at an example of sine just so you see all three of them. So we're just going to take a look at the example A. So 21, this is going to be my opposite, and this is going to be my hypotenuse. And so that is your sine. So we have the sine of 21 is equal to x over k. And if we want to get x by itself, we can cross multiply here, and you get k sine of 21 is equal to x. And so whatever k would be, that would be how we would find x. Because it's a variable, we can't go any further than that, so that is the expression. And that is how you do sine, cosine, and tangent for side lengths.